Hi, welcome to the Whitey White Guy Show. I'm Whitey, and today I'm going to review a film that came out in 1997 called Switchback. This has an outstanding cast. If you haven't seen this movie and you're like, actors, I like actors, I like a good cast. This is the film for you, my friend. Switchback stars Danny Glover, Dennis Quaid, Jared Leto. All these years later, still know how to say his name. Uh, Claudia Stedelin, Ted Levine is in this. William Fichtner, I think it's Fichtner. Arlie Ermy, the late, great, and missed Arlie Ermy is in this. Um, there's one other guy I want to mention. Yeah, he's got a small role in this, but he's gone. Walton Goggins is his name. Here he is. Walton Goggins plays Bud. Brent Hinckley is a face you would recognize, but you might not know his name. He's got a small role in this, and then just an excellent cast beyond that. This is a really fascinating movie. And one thing, especially for me, my dad worked on the railroad. He started on a track crew in 1980. He retired just a few years ago. He's been retired like a good 4 or 5 years. But he was on the railroad for 38 years. And after his couple years on the track crew, he transferred to what's called B&B, which is bridges and buildings. You're a carpenter. You repair bridges and buildings. And I watched this with my dad, and it was just kind of interesting to get insight into his world. So a lot of this movie rotates around railroad employees and what their day to day is. It's not central to the plot, but that's how people are moving around. I'll get to it in a minute. But it was just kind of interesting. At one point, they're like looking at a railroad map or something. He's like, "That's what we do." So for me, this was extra cool movie. So the plot is what you have here, and it's one of those films where you don't know what's going on at first, and little by little you're getting more information. So Dennis Quaid is in law enforcement. I believe he's in the FBI. It's some kind of, I don't know if it's FBI or what would be the other, like Marshal Service, but it's something like that. And there's been a killing, and he believes that a serial killer is involved in this killing. There's like certain similarities between this killing and a guy he's chasing. So he shows up, and in the midst of this, Arlie Ermy is the sheriff of this small town. Ted Levine is his right hand man. So you got the sheriff and the sheriff's deputy, but not like a small time schmuck. He's like anyway. And then William Fichtner plays the guy who's running for sheriff, running against him for sheriff. So they're in a heated political battle, in a heated election rather, um, and they're both trying to find the edge against their guy who gets elected. Arlie Ermey's been in office for a long time. William Fichtner, maybe it's like county board. And anyway, so there's an election going on. Dennis Quaid shows up and says, "I think this murder that took place might be my guy that I've been tracking." And this puts everybody at odds with everybody because every move that these two guys want to make um, in order to win the election, because it's a close election, they solve the murder. Whoever solves the murder is likely to become, be sheriff, get elected sheriff. But Dennis Quaid is like, you can't. So at one point they want to make this announcement that they think they got the guy, and Dennis Quaid is like, you can't make this announcement. And Ted Levine is like, hey, this is how we eat, man. This is our careers. If we don't make this announcement, we could lose the election. And he's like, if you make this announcement, the bad guy, the serial killer, he's gonna kill again just to throw this in your face. And what you find later okay, so that's going on. So you got law enforcement trying to find the serial killer in the midst of this election, and that's happening. Cut to Jared Leto, who plays Lane Dixon, and I don't think they really explain who he's supposed to be at the beginning of the film. He's just some young 20-something, and most of this takes place in the Colorado Rockies. And so he's just a traveling man. He's a wayward character wandering down the street kind of thing. Danny Glover pulls up in a very unique vehicle. Well, the vehicle's not that unique, but it's plastered out with cutouts from porno mags, like girls with titties, and they're like laminated into the car, which is really wait. Okay, a lonely fella. So Danny Glover picks up Jared Leto. Danny Glover plays Bob Goodall. Jared Leto plays Lane Dixon. Bob and Lane, I forget where they get. Bob picks up Lane, but they're going to the same place, so they end up traveling together for several days. As announcements are being made about this, the murders, and that become murder, that becomes murders, they start suspecting one another as being the serial killer. And so there's this little bit of a cat and mouse. 1 minute, and so at one point, Lane is like, I don't want to be in this car anymore. Let me out of here. And Bob Goodall's like, I'm not letting you out at this spot right here. That's a biker bar. Those guys will kick your ass. I'll drop you off 20 miles down the road. And Lane's like, no way, bro. This is getting uncomfortable. I want out of this vehicle now. Bob drops him off. The bikers start a beef. One guy's like, you're the guy that meddled with my sister. And Lane's like, yeah, I don't even know her. I just got here. And he's like, you calling me a liar? It's one of those. And whether they had a legit beef or they just wanted an excuse to kick a guy's ass, they get into some fisticuffs, and then Bob shows up and saves the day. He Josie Wales style, he circles back around and saves Lane, gets him out of there. They have a good laugh about that. They're buddies again, but then they're hearing Lane's hearing different stuff about the serial killer from town folk and from the radio, and the numbers are starting to add up, and it's like, am I in a car with a guy who's killed a bunch of people, who's on the run from the authorities, but he doesn't know. And then Walton Goggins just plays one of the deputies, and he helps out with a little. At one point, a lawyer wants to sue the cops for arresting the wrong guy, and then Dennis Quaid uses Walton Goggins to help him, come in with this bullshit about, well, we got a DNA match for 29B. And then the lawyer's like, what's 29B? And he's like, oh, it's for the blonde hair. Your guy's going to prison. And he's like, okay, we'll make a deal. And then it turns out he was bullshitting. Stuff like that. So this is very well directed. It's all practicals. There's no CG. It's a very small, self-contained story. Nothing epic about this, but god damn, can these people act? This is a fantastic cast on crushing it, and Arlie Ermy is cool as the other side of the pillow. Everything that happens, he's like, I got this. Fucking drill instructor Hartman, but for once he's not playing somebody in the military, and he's a laid back, cool cat instead of screaming in your face. And it's nice to see. He's a very relatable guy, down to earth type of dude. William Fichtner, and this is what I love about this movie and movies like it. I hate Full House. I hate what's the one? I hate simplicity. The good guys are too good and the bad guys are bad. But why are they bad? Oh, they're just bad. This isn't that movie. This is the guy who turns out to be the serial killer in the end is the guy who did some of this other cool shit that really helped out. And then at the end of it, Arlie Ermy, they have the guy, they need a helicopter, they need to go save the day. William Fichtner, it's in his jurisdiction, so it's his call. And Arlie Ermy is like, it's your first day. You can really do the right thing here. William Fichtner, who's been the asshole the whole time, gives him the green light. And kind of begrudgingly so, but it was like, at the end of the day, in his brain, he's like, it's the right thing to do, I got it. And so he's been the jerk. He's been the good guy jerk. He's been the sheriff that's running against the hero, which is Arlie Ermy, and he's been a dick about it the whole time. But then when push comes to shove, he does the right thing. And you're just like, fuck yeah, William Fickner, way to be, dude. The guy, man, came through. The guy who's been the asshole all the time came through big at the end. I love that shit. I hate it when it's simple. I love it when it's complex, when the right thing to do isn't so clear and you got to navigate that moral ambiguity. Those are movies I love. When it's simple, laid out for a 4-year-old to understand, I can't stand your movie. So I love me some Switchback. This is an excellent film. Um, Jared Leto, Jared Leto, hey, yeah, he been in some questionable roles. It's like, what are you doing these days, you crazy person? Is he crazy? Is he fucking with the press? This is Jared Leto at his freaking apex. This is outstanding acting. You can't not like this guy. This is Jared Leto with Switchback and Lord of War, where he's just crushing it. Crushing it! So, I really like this cast. It's fantastic. The film in and of itself is kind of okay, but the cast just bam, It would have been a 5-yard pass, but the cast made it a 65-yard touchdown pass, kind of thing. But again, competently directed. I should look up who the director is. It's all, like I said, it's all practicals. There's nothing fancy visually, but it's well done. The director puts you in the car with these two guys, if you follow me. It feels less like a film and more like you're the guy in the back seat watching all this shit play out. So it's really simple, but effective directing. And it's directed by Jeb Stewart. Makes sense. I thought he died in the Civil War. Yeah, what can he do? So, box office, and of course, it's a good movie. It's a thinker. It's not laid out for you. It's not preschool. So it isn't a blockbuster. Isn't that the way it is? The dumber and less profound and more ineptly put together a film is, the more money it makes. The more intelligent a film is, the less money it makes. It's just, and you know why? God hates me. God hates intellectuals. Plain and fucking simple. Really? Gail Ann Hurd produced this. I'm kind of shocked by that. She's a cunt. So, but she's produced some good movies. Credit where credit's due. Um, that's about it. That's okay. So some of it takes place in Amarillo, Texas, and then they go up into the Rockies. Go watch. Yeah, he was with the FBI. The tactics of FBI agent concern. Okay, the dude's name was Lacrosse. I used to live in Lacrosse. Wow, this movie's the gift that keeps on giving. So yeah, go check out Switchback. I'm not gonna spoil it because I want you to see this movie. If you haven't seen it, and you're like, I like movies, I like talent, I like things that make you think, go watch this movie and put a comment in the comment section and tell me what you think. I gotta look up some of my boys, some of the guys who are on here consistently. Cooper, I'm looking at you. And that's about it. Eric over at Hey Internet Eric here. I think you'll like this one too. Um, who else would want to see this movie? Sasha over at Sexy Monkey. If you're watching this, Sasha, go check out Switchback for me. I would love to get your opinion on this film. Really would. So, yeah, that's it for here at the White Guy Show. If you're still watching, I gotta say this at the beginning because nobody's here after 2 minutes. Like and subscribe, share, all that stuff. I'm on Twitter. White Guy Show. There's a link in the description if you want to throw me $5 on PayPal. Yeah, PayPal. And I'd love you for it. So I'm out of here. Do go watch Switchback. 1997, Danny Glover, Dennnis, Quaid, Jared Leto, Ted Levine. Fantastic cast, my God. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.